Greetings, assalamu alaikum, bonjour, hola, etc., etc. I'm coming to you from the cozy comfort of my car today. It's been a while, about 4 months, a little over 4 months exactly. As you can see, I've cut my hair. Forehead is glistening. But nevertheless, this is going to be a short video on a subject that came up during one of our last sessions. Well, one of the sisters was faced with the difficult task of deciding what to keep of her loved ones and what to dispose of. And in this case, we are specifically talking about a loved one who has passed. And although every case is different, most cases or all cases are very difficult because you don't know what it is that you're going to um, need later. You don't know what is going to be valuable or of value later on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What if I told you that you can actually turn your loved one's belongings into an asset, a valuable asset, something that is worth or has monetary value? So we're going to be talking about analyzing, digitizing, and archiving those downloads. And in this case, when we talk about a download, we are talking about, well, pretty much we're going to talk about this in a later. But today we're going to be talking about specifically the physical articles or items that your loved one has left. So today we're going to be talking about how to analyze those physical assets to use in a storytelling, your storytelling narratives. Having that physical asset can add value to your story because now we have something that your users or your audience can visualize. They can see it, touch it, smell it. But before we get into analyzing what assets that you want to keep of your loved ones, what physical asset you want to keep, this is just a warning, a personal warning for personal experience. If your loved one has suffered any type of traumatic loss, like my son was murdered, you want to secure the location of the assets. Like my son's room, for example. After he that night, I can remember his friends coming in. A lot of stuff was taken. The Tomb Raider, the whole Tomb Raider scenario, and a lot of stuff came up missing. And so just even if no traumatic loss was suffered, you still want to secure your loved one's location because, like I said, Tomb Raiders are real and they will take whatever it is that they can. You never know what's going to be needed in the event that there's a police investigation or anything like that. So just you know put a lock on the door or secure the location for some time until you decide on what to do. And when you do decide to when you do decide to go through your loved one's possessions, values, it would be a good idea to have someone with you. It took me a very long time, to say almost 2 years, before I decided to go through my son's stuff. I kept putting it off and kept putting it off. And finally, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So what made it easier for me to do this is I went through his stuff with his, at the time, his girlfriend. She and I spent some time going through his stuff, and I decided to go through it with her because it could have been therapeutic for her too. It was therapeutic for both of us, actually. But having someone with you to go through your loved ones' things can make it easier. So when you're analyzing your loved ones' belongings, right now they just have sentimental value. They are not assets. An asset is something that you put a financial meaning or financial value on. Any financial value that they have at this time can be bought and sold. And once you sell it or donate it, its value drops. Both the sentimental value as well as its financial value drop. By adding a storytelling element to your loved one's possession, you now increase its value. Once you've added storytelling element to your asset or your item, it now has a tangible monetary value. or I should say that it has the potential of having a monetary value, because once you place the storytelling element onto that item, it now creates a tangible value, because it can be shared or transferred. The story is what gives the item value. So here I've included some ways to digitize an item for storytelling. You want to always make sure that you're using high definition equipment or very quality equipment to get the best results. After you have digitized your items, now you go into the archiving aspects of the process, which we're not going to get into here because it involves the more financial aspects of the process, or attaching the financials to the item. It now becomes an asset. So we don't get into that here. But if you sign up for the class, then that's when we really get into the nuts and bolts. But we can get into storing the asset now. So now that it's an asset, we want to talk about storing it. And there are different ways that, as you see here, for the physical items, we want to store them in airtight units, ones that will prevent moisture. For the digital assets, we want to use devices like USBs, those portable data banks. We don't do anything cloud-based. Blockchain is something that we get into in our personal I'm sorry. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, sign up for the class. Safety deposit boxes are something, another option. They can range from about $40 to about over $300 a month. And that's, of course, based on size. So now comes the fun part. What do you do after you digitize your items? What do you do after you have um, archived everything? But basically, what you want to do is start creating content like videos, short stories, novels, video games. I've included a list here, so if you want to look at all the possibilities and more, there's much more. But basically, you want to distribute your content. You want to um, you can create viewing events, exhibitions. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Basically, um, you want to create events off of your storytelling product. Now it's an asset, it's a product, not a product that you would want to sell, of course. Of course, you don't want to sell it, at least not at this time, because you're building up a history, or say the asset is building up a history. The more that you distribute your content, the more valuable it becomes. And again, it doesn't matter. Nobody can come to any of your events or your showings or anything, and the asset will still build value. And we get into more about this in the classes once you take the class. So that concludes this class. If you have any questions or want to reach out to me, you know how to contact me. I'll try to at least have one class a month for 2025. That's a goal that I'm reaching for. Maybe two, but I have so many projects and things that I'm doing now. It's very hard for me. So follow me on my Instagram to catch the next date of the class.